G'day. It's a very exciting day today. I've travelled out to Ballarat to pick up a second-hand set of Old Man Emu suspension. A mate of mine's getting a customised set. He's replacing his Old Man Emu set from his BT50, and I think we're on a winner here. I can't wait to see what it does for my car. Right, so this is what Gary's left me with. Is very heavy duty leaf springs for a start, which are probably too heavy for my purposes. I travel pretty light from day to day. In the Flyscreen business, we deal a lot with small aluminium products. And as well as that, the heavy duty springs in the front, however, are really important when you got that bull bar and winch on the front. Because I found with other suspension kits, the front end was just pounding down too much, and I ruined a lot of bash plates. So heavy duty springs in the front. I can't wait to see how these ones work out. As you can see with this whole set, it looks a bit dirty, and it's only 12 months old. So if you're wondering why it's so dirty, we'll zoom in right here. You can see mostly it's because Gary's greased it up really well. It's actually operating beautifully. So I'm going to give it a bit of a clean, but you can see here, these bushes are probably fine. They're not old enough to be problematic, but I'll probably replace them anyway, just because it doesn't hurt to do that with a new set of suspension. Now, Gary supplied the U-bolts for me, but again, they're an item that should probably be replaced when you are using second-hand suspension. Now, in terms of springs on the new suspension, there you go, you can see the height difference with the ARB on the left and the standard suspension on the right. Well, then my calipers run out of battery. You can still do the comparison here. Run that against the ARB spring and compare it against, can you see the flexibility, the movement? So the ARB there is 20mm thick. We'll bring that back down. Standard stuff, it's 17mm. 18mm thick. It doesn't seem like much, but it makes a big difference. And here's the two struts lined up. We'll get in close and have a look at the differences in size here. Okay, again, if we measure at the thicker point of the base here, the base of the shaft, and move that directly across to the OE equipment, there's another, again, about another 2mm in it. You can see across the tops here and here, there's a huge difference in the cylinders. Moving down again, once again, hard to see the blackens on the screen, the thickness of the metal on the plates here, this, whatever you call where the springs received. Again, they're quite different side by side. Now in my world, with a minimum knowledge of what really goes on inside a shock absorber, you can see the ARB, the Old Man Emu gear, has got this funny taper, this lump here. I don't know why, but it makes the whole cylinder a bit bigger. The Old Man Emu equipment is welded all the way around there with a big fat weld. Let's go back and take a look at the original equipment, which has just got your, tricky to hold the camera. It's just got that spot weld on the two sides. It's missing that bit in the middle there. This is where I've come to get my suspension done. So that's the originals. Yep. And that's the new ones. Yep.
Keep going.
So I brought the car along one of the local roads now that I've got the Old Man Emu suspension fitted, because this road's got some speed humps on it. And I thought I'll test it out like I tested the original equipment suspension and hit these at 40 and see how the car handles it. But I've been hitting these at 50 and it's been absolutely wonderful. Even though I've got virtually no weight in the tray, the bigger leaf packs in the back are still just floating over really nicely. It's looking really good at this stage. So whether or not I've gained much in suspension flex, doesn't really matter. To be honest, the traction control and the rear diff lock kind of make up for that. And these kind of vehicles don't have a lot of suspension flexibility. But so far, just playing around with it in the 10 minutes since I left Can-Do 4x4, it's gone really nicely over those speed humps. I've really been impressed. As I said before, at 40 k's an hour with the standard suspension, it was just bottoming out at the front end. And now, front and back end are much, much smoother, even at 50 k's an hour. So yeah, this is looking really good. And just the ride height's a little higher, but the feel, it's just nice. Now with the Old Man Emu suspension fitted, let's have a look at the all-important measurement of the wheel arch to the hub. .570 millimeters. Now cut to the back end. This has actually gone up 70 millimeters. I didn't take the measurements. The guy at Can-Do 4x4 took the measurements. But that, of course, is designed for the tray, which is then, of course, designed to have a load on it and push down. So it's a little over, the advertised 50 mil, but there's a reason for it, obviously. It's quite high, and in my world, the tray height should actually be down a bit further, because I've got to work on the back here like a regular workbench. So it's actually set a bit too high compared to how I'd like to have it, but still, a nice suspension lift is still a nice suspension lift, isn't it? Now, one of the really cool things I like about the new suspension is it stopped the front end sagging as much as it did. It used to look like a Mazda 6 with a bull bar, but now it's actually up. It looks like a four-wheel drive now. I've got to say though, on a sad note, no one cares about this as much as I do. I tell my friends that I got new suspension, they don't care. They're just not four-wheel drive people.